Well, that was a short break from my last video. It hasn't even been an hour, I don't think. But I've been out and about, started my day doing some other things, and was listening to the Duran. And I'd heard whisperings of this, but they've confirmed it this morning. Uh, and it goes along with my last video about the fact that if you don't have it in your hand, you don't own it. And that the financial system supported by the United States is the fiat and the petrodollar and all that is falling apart, which is why the banks are starting to have problems. Hello, everyone. Thank you for letting me know on 5x5. This is just a quick update following up on that last video that I did. In the description box below is about a 15-minute presentation by the Duran, that's Alex Christoforou and Alexander Mercouris, about this latest development. And I was going to title this video what I did on my Twitter when I put the information up, that the United States and Israel are probably shitting bricks right now. What's happened is that the unthinkable as far as U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East is concerned, and even in the world, China has brokered a deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Saudi Arabia and Iran are now going back to full diplomatic relations. They are likely, I'll let the Duran explain the details of this rather than me doing it. Again, it's in the description box below. But the bottom line is that the U.S.'s empire, the tighter it's, remember this in Star Wars, when Princess Leia is talking to one of the admirals on the ship, she said, on the Empire ship, she said, the tighter you try to hold on, the more will slip through your fingers. That's exactly what's happening. What did I say yesterday? What did I say yesterday? How the United States are juvenile delinquents, especially in the State Department and in the intelligence community, and certainly in the executive branch in the White House. Not just under Biden, but Biden is, and Alexander Mercouris and Alex Christoforou will say that, Biden's the worst president and, done more horrible things as far as hurting U.S. standing in the world than Jimmy Carter did or anybody else for that matter. I have to tell you, he wouldn't be there if the design of those in power weren't to destroy the United States, okay? I don't mind blaming Biden for all this and the people he's brought into the White House, but you got to understand they wouldn't be there if that wasn't the design to take down the U.S. anyway. Am I happy about this? No, I'm not. I mean, this is going to affect my family and my friends just as well. But as I've said for so long, the label on the bottle of the United States and what's inside that bottle are two different things. The contents are not what's on the label, and we have done horrible things around the world trying to force our way of life on others, number one. Number two, stealing their resources. We've done that like all empires do. And now it's boomerang, because whoever put Biden in the office, knowing that he would do these things under the direction of the powers that be, the world is starting to see it, and they're saying, we don't want anything to do with these clowns in D.C., or for that matter, in Brussels and NATO. I mean, it's really obvious. So the petrodollar is on its way out even faster than I thought it would go. Alexander Mercouris is still saying that, well, some other things have to be worked out. It could still take, a year or so. Again, I'm not a financial guy. All I can tell you is that all of the stars are lining up against the United States and Israel. And in a lot of ways, they're one and the same. Netanyahu's gone nuts. Just lately, you probably are keeping track of what that idiot in Israel has been doing, again, under the auspices of somebody in control. First of all, of course, he used Israel as the test country for all of the extant medical treatments. You must know about that. They really pushed it hard there, and Netanyahu said that he agreed to let them be the testing ground. So he was willing to sacrifice his own people, which is what his type of people do. I'm speaking between the lines here. More often than not, those who say they are Jews and are not kill off Jews. Okay, I'll probably get in trouble for saying that, but that's the way it goes, and that's what we saw here in Israel under Netanyahu and what he pushed on those people for that. The crimes that they've committed elsewhere, which I'm not going to get into because just talking about those things will get this taken down. Then I'm going to be in difficulty, there. Despite the fact that I wouldn't hurt my feelings, but at the same time, I still like to get information out. Now that crazy Netanyahu, he went before the Knesset and they voted to say that anything that the judiciary does, basically the Supreme Court of Israel, anything that they do that's counter to Netanyahu and the Knesset, as far as what the government does, is null and void, even if the judiciary says that it's unlawful. And it's causing strife in the military, in the Israeli Defense Forces, in the Mossad, and in other places in Israel. The whole place is going nuts. There are riots in the streets. I mean, and you can't tell me that he didn't know that this wasn't going to happen. It's people in power trying to solidify their tyrannical power, just like Biden's doing in the United States, saying you can't talk bad now about what the presidency and what the country does in regards to Ukraine, just as one example, or we're going to watch you. We're going to put you on a watch list. That's basically what he was saying. So, in other words, all these people that have had this control, and now they see it slipping away from them, Iran and Saudi Arabia becoming diplomatically tied up again, and Xi Jinping of China brokering that deal. Wow. Biden needs to be impeached and tried for treason. And everybody in his White House at this point needs to. They think that Trump did bad stuff. I don't like Trump. But what's happened here is treason. High crimes and misdemeanors, including treason. The president can be impeached for that and tried. And it's about time. All right, I won't take up any more of your time, but this is serious. This is another reason why the financial system is in a lot of trouble, and why your assets, if they're in anything that you don't have control of personally, those assets are in dire danger. You could lose them very easily. So you're going to have to take some action of some sort. I can tell you what that is, but you got to do something. Israel right now, they wanted to bomb Iran, right? Take out their nuclear facilities, even though Israel has nuclear facilities, even nuclear weapons. Anybody with any intelligence already knows that. They talk about their Samson world-destroying nuclear weapons. They're proud of it. If you're not going to let Netanyahu's position is, if you're not going to let us be the Messiah without metaphor and take over the world, we'll just kill all of you with us. Just like Samson did, pushing over, if you know the story, when he was taken prisoner by the Philistines and he pushes over the pillars and everybody dies. That's how they look at it. They are a godless people, They think God is their guide. No, their God is a God of destruction. If you want to, people say, well, Roy, that goes along with the Yohevah, the part that says Hova, right? The destroyer. Yeah, but that's the only side they look at. And God's just destroyed them, it looks like to me, with this deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran. What are they going to do now? As Alexander Mercouris points out, Israel had at least fairly good ties with Saudi Arabia. Iran was their mortal enemy, and now the people that Israel had, and the United States for that matter, had diplomatic ties with, is now the friend of their mortal enemy. Israel and the United States is mortal enemy. Holy cow! Again, Biden is incompetent. He's senile. He's a wicked, evil man who has even said that he needs to change the traditional values of the people in the United States so they can bring in the new world type government order. Look what he's done. And I'm not going to enumerate it here, because if I do, it'll be strikes and that kind of thing. I ought to probably have a Rumble account where I can just speak it out, but I think you all have the intelligence and the understanding that you know basically what I'm saying when I even if I don't lay it out exactly. Okay, so this is serious, and again, it's bad for Americans in one regard, but in another, it's taking down an evil, evil empire which has wrought horrible things around the world. As I forget who said this. I brought it up for myself. You know, the U.S. Navy had and probably still does, had an recruiting ad, said the United States Navy, a global force for good. No, it isn't. It's a force for evil. It's a force for evil empire. And a lot of people are finally starting to realize that. So we've squandered our birthright. We squandered the gifts that we were promised if we abided by the principles of liberty and righteousness. And we've turned our back on all that, and all we go after is the bowl of porridge, the filthy lucre. It's all we do as a nation. And now it's starting to come back and bite us in the butt again by design. But at the same time, this would not have happened if the American people had kept their principles and their morality. But they haven't. They've allowed these horrible demons to lead them down this path. So here we are. Israel is probably, I think Alexander McCurse is probably correct about this. Israel has had some fairly close ties to China. And now that the United States is starting to lose its predominant role in the world, Israel, you know, fair weather friends, so to speak. Look how he treated Trump when Trump got out of office, Netanyahu, I mean. Again, I have no respect for Trump, but still, the idea that Netanyahu would turn his back on him, he was jealous that, you know, people considered, and I talked about it at the time, that Trump might be the Messiah ben Joseph. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, you'd have to go back a few years to see, and that's not me saying that, that's some of the rabbis there. But at any rate, Netanyahu, he's got to see that, you know, this is real bad, and the Israelis might just decide to switch sides and go ahead and go with China after all and just dump the U.S. completely. The U.S. is losing friends left and right because we've been so nasty. We don't ever abide by our agreements, and all we do is we're the bully in the schoolyard. That's what we do. We just bully everybody into everything. Okay, I won't belabor the point anymore, but I had to get this up. Look at the description box and watch that explanation by the Duran. I think that'll be kind of add another depth of understanding to what I did in the video just prior to this one. Okay. And I'm out and about, so I'll head on. You see my advertisement here for my stuff going on. I got some suggestions last night on what I can do with some of these nightcaps. Possibly dinosaurs, I might have a problem with that. I'd have to travel too far for that. But maybe some other things, and we'll see. So that's all I got for you. Prep, pray, stay out of the way. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. Situational awareness on high. It's coming down. I mean, this could turn the United States into one huge riot, uncontrollable. And of course, the whole idea is, and I've said this before, as the United States loses its power abroad, it'll turn its evil tools of control and tyranny internally, as they have been over the last few years, and come after the people. They will turn those evil weapon systems against us, as they already have. Look at the January 6th deal. Look what we're finding out about that, just as an example. They will use all, I said back when I went through the Army Terrorism Counteraction course in the 80s, one of the first officers to go through, that their definitions for terrorism were too broad, and that there were only a couple of dozen of them. Now there's scores. And that one of them was, and you've heard me say it before, if you own one firearm, if you have a 2-week supply of food, which is a very subjective judgment, and if you have your own private business, in other words, you're self-employed, or you don't get a W-2 from a corporation, you are by definition a terrorist. So they can come into your house and your neighbors are going, what's going on there? And all they got to do is say they're terrorists, and they don't have to define it anymore, and nobody knows what's going on. That's how far it's gone. The January 6 people have felt that. The parents in the school board meetings, when the FBI went after them for, disagreeing with what the school boards were doing and saying that it was wrong. Oh, that's violence on there. Anytime you disagree with the powers that be, you're being violent. But they can come and kill you, injure you, throw you in prison, take away your property, kill your sons and your daughters. Oh, that's not violent. That's government doing its job. Do you see where we are? Okay, I got to go. In the description box, take a look at what's being said there. I think it's apropos to what I said here just in the last video. All right, y'all take care. Out for now.